I'm a huge fan of TV shows that have even a little basis in reality. Not reality television. That's tough to watch people actually be themselves. I've always had trouble watching people like sing and dance on variety shows. I can't do it. And I'm starting to feel like that's a big part of the problem I'm having with seeing myself on video. I'm talking about shows like the original MacGyver, which is a show I should probably do an entire episode on by itself, and MythBusters, especially when it first started out, and Adam Ruins Everything. Which, man, how cool would it be to interview Adam Conover? Look, I'm finding it really tricky to get anyone to appear on a podcast with so few subscribers. It's weird, right? I also liked CSI oriented shows, both the real ones and the made up ones. I guess because at first the original CSI series seemed tethered enough to reality that I could get interested. At some point, I guess they gave up on developing good plots and tried to throw so much science at it, it became unbelievable and really tough to watch. They started losing actors because the roles weren't challenging and the plots were increasingly contrived and unbelievable, and they never bothered to develop any new characters, so they just started throwing in all these flimsy performances. And my guess is Ted Danson got caught up in this somehow, and they had this CSI cyber thing that someone pitched, so they moved him over from one CSI to another as a effort to try and bring the series back or something. And it's unfair because I like him in some other things, so it would be unfair to comment on his performance in CSI Cyber. There was this time where I used to sit in my basement and drink a few beers and watch CSI Cyber, and I would comment wildly on social media, and like the 10 people that followed me on Facebook ate it up. So this is something I can kind of do that shows off a few things. And you're probably thinking, man, that sounds negative, and you wouldn't be wrong completely. I mean, it's called a hate watch. Duh. I'm not taking anything away from anyone involved in the production. There are some talented people associated with that show, but none of them were ever given the time or resources to really be successful. My intent is to find a positive message in that negativity. I want people to learn things like what real security is versus what you might think it is. I use the phrase very often, if I can do it from my phone, it can be done from anyone's phone. And that's a big part of my aversion to things like smart home technology or connected home or, even a button that unlocks my front door. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have a lot of that stuff, except it always comes with a bunch of hidden costs. And I want everyone to understand those costs. And I'm not just talking monetary costs either. I mean, you're giving up privacy, you're giving up security in some cases. I'd love to put together this slick video showing you all why I'm skeptical of these things, except, all the production issues I've got with my face that I've mentioned earlier. I thought about doing things like the lockpicking lawyer. I dig his content tremendously. It's really just his hands and locks is all it ever really is. Some tools here and there. Oh, did I mention I am able to pick locks that are not especially challenging, and I can escape from a straitjacket, and I can make a randomly selected card appear in someone's food. Yeah, and there are people out there who saw these things happen themselves. I'll get into all those stories eventually. I'm also pretty certain that CBS isn't going to appreciate their carefully curated content being so critically ripped apart by me. So I'm looking at ways of doing this kind of legitimately. I mean, it would be totally badass to have like a little video inset of the episode that I could talk over. Shit, I'd be okay with a silhouette of myself and any guest I could muster up. But I'd never want to offend MST3K fans and other official content owners. I want it to be an homage, not a misuse. And I'm not making any money off of this. I don't want to. So maybe, but I don't want to risk it. I'm too much a fan of MST3K and some of the actors involved in CSI and CSI related spinoffs. I don't want to mess up anyone's royalties. But think about this, CBS. Isn't it a way for you to monetize those dust bunnies in the corners of TV history like CSI Cyber while appropriately compensating the talent that was involved in making it? I might be the only person in the world talking about that show. But if somehow a viral audience could be built of both fans and anti fans, people who love to hate the content, isn't that a win too? I'm just spitballing here, but think of like an affiliate system where contributors like me can use copyrighted works. That doesn't sound right to me. I feel like it should be copywritten, but as I was typing my script, I was told it was proper to say copyrighted. So, and could we feature that copyrighted material in our works while still letting the copyright owner themselves have control? So instead of DCMA takedowns, it's a partnership. I was just thinking of a few options, and I realized there's some insurmountable challenges here. But a boy can dream, right? I've mentioned doing the hate watch idea to a few of my security buddies who are excited about the idea. And these are the for realsy dealsy type of security people too. So once I can figure out a model, I'm going to be doing some hacker hate watch episodes as an ongoing series. Hey, maybe this thing catches on. It's got to be better than listening to some dude blubber away about why he can't be on camera. So if you're in the security industry and you were connected on LinkedIn and you want to be involved on a lightly attended podcast where we stumble through picking apart security stuff from old movies and TV shows, hit me up. CSI Cyber is just my starting point. I want to go really deep with this. In movies too, like The Net. Someone mentioned a show called Scorpion to me. Yeah, I'd love to do really good shows too. It's kind of a foil to the negative sounding stuff. Like Mr. Robot. Hell yeah, I'd do Mr. Robot. V for Vendetta, all of it. Look, I've teased this series called Stories for Another Time for quite a while now. The problem has been that getting through all the stuff that I want to talk about is tough. This excitement you hear in my voice is real. I spent years in this very dim place mentally. I became too proficient at not highlighting my skills and my contributions for whatever reason. It would be one thing for me to come to terms with too many images of myself being out on the internet, but for video of me to be out there would lock me up mentally. I have a lot of problems with it. I wish I could explain it more. But I want to contribute now more than ever. The problem for me has been trying to focus on 13 different thoughts. Am I building an audience of food fans? I mean, I love watching Joshua Weissman and Maddie Matheson both getting acclaim, but either of them going to come on a channel proudly boasting 57 subscribers? Hey, look, 57 is a higher number than I ever anticipated. It lets me know that this is resonating with a few folks, and that brings me so much joy. I had a conversation yesterday with someone who's mentoring me, and she spoke so highly of these podcasts. It meant everything to me to hear that. Most of the subscribers I have seem to have been interested in my Tiny Chef episodes. Look, I continue to love Sheffy. He's like my emotional flotation device. When I'm down, I go back, I watch an episode from season 2. I keep them on my TiVo. Yeah, I've still got a TiVo. But like just this morning, I watched an episode I hadn't seen previously. Sheffy is a gigantic part of my emotional recovery. He shows me that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to feel down, and it's such an amazing message. I mentioned him in one of my podcast episodes, and in the description, and his social media account responded to me in his voice and, "Oh my god!" I can't do it. I apologize. That was horrible, but you get the idea. I literally plotched, y'all. Seriously. I freaked out when I saw that reply. But is it fair to brand myself as a creator focused solely on Tiny Chef? I mean, as much as I love TC and as much as he means to me, that's only a part of it. There's car stuff, magic stuff, computer stuff, all stuff I want to get into. But these hate watches are really speaking to me. In computer security, both what it is and what it isn't is super important to me. I was on vacation during the event this year, but I want to encourage folks in my LinkedIn network to follow RVA Sec. I've been a member since year two, I think, though I've only been to about three or four of the conferences in the 13 years it's been around. This year, they had an impressive guest list. People I'd love, God, it would be amazing to have on and just, talk to for 30, 40 minutes. Um, I guess the best thing I can say is it's going to be interesting to find all this out. I'd love to build this wide and diverse audience that's just a mix of a bunch of different things. I'm someone who loves seeing people finding their joy. This podcast is helping me find mine. Anyone who questions the ADD thing should really pay attention to all of this. I can't focus on a single thing to talk about. I want to talk about it all with all of you. So this hate watch thing is just going to be focused on security stuff, just to be clear. Take care.